Look, I get it. I've been there too. Your eyes meet from across the room. There's something new, exotic, a bit dangerous perhaps. You get to talking, and with every word spoken and every interaction, you become intoxicated, smitten. Their laugh is contagious and their self esteem infectious. In their presence, you feel empowered. But then something changes. Small, subtle changes become apparent. They don't appreciate you. They don't appreciate you like they used to. They distance themselves from what made them special in the first place. And before long, they've become something else entirely. Something ugly and vile. And you simply have to turn your back and walk away. Walk away from something you loved and just keep looking forward. But then, the years go by, and you come across each other again, randomly, and you see it. That spark that made you notice them the first time around. You get to chatting, they make you laugh, offer to cook you a dinner. Strictly platonic, of course, no strings attached, just to catch up, for old time's sake. What's the worst that can happen, right? So, you've accepted praise, 3-course homemade dinner. As I said, I get it. I did too. I'm Brian, by the way, and welcome to Something by Brian. Let's dig into this meal together and figure out if we should give this franchise another chance. So they start out by serving a wonderful entree, a super compelling story wrapped in a well-placed casing, smothered in an easy-to-follow narrative. So, without spoiling the story, here's a short summary. Naru is a young Comanche woman who's unsatisfied with her role in the tribe. She's yearning to go hunting with the men and spends most of her time practicing her skills to prove to everyone that she's more than capable. Whilst she's out honing her abilities, she comes across an unusual footprint in the muddy forest ground. She tries warning the tribe, but they downplay the threat and goes out into the night hunting for what might be lurking in the surroundings. Needless to say, they're in over their head, and our heroine has to take matters into her own hand and prove to herself and everyone she's got what it takes. It's a very easy to follow story that develops at an exciting pace. I really enjoyed following Naru on her journey. The dangers she faces and how she grows and learns from various encounters is very believable, and she never feels encased in plot armor, so therefore the action scenes are always super suspenseful. The story, though not entirely surprising nor twisty, still managed to draw some interesting parallels between the protagonist and antagonist, and also a bit of all those superficial contemporary criticisms. So overall, the story is pretty captivating and kept me glued to the screen. I'm definitely starting to be intrigued by this franchise again based on this film, and I'm hoping for a sequel, whether it'll follow Naru on her journey or jump a bit in time and we'd see what happened if a predator arrived in another point in time. By the way, I know they're not called a predator but a yautja, but predator sounds so much better, so I'm calling it predator. So, that was a pretty delicious start to the dinner, but we're not that easily impressed now, are we? We reserve our judgment. Oh, it looks like the main course is here. 2 well-done characters served with, not much else. Naru is portrayed by Amber Midthunder, and she is a revelation in this movie. Her performance is understated but powerful, and she's very believable in all her action sequences, and you can't help but root for her. When she's all alone practicing her skills, when she's in the teepee learning from her elders, or when she's in the depth of it all, seemingly in over her head, you just want her to succeed. But when talking about characters and performances, I also have to address an issue this movie does have: the lack of fully fledged characters. The only properly 3-dimensional characters in this are actually Naru and her brother Tabe, portrayed by Dakota Beavers. He's really good as the stoic big brother that wants his sister to succeed, but simultaneously has to keep her realistic and somewhat rain on her parade. I enjoyed their relationship a lot, and whenever he defended her, I got all warm and fussy, and whenever he scolded her, I felt disappointed as well. They felt very much like real siblings. And it's not that the other actors did a bad job or anything, it's just that the characters were a bit plain. All the other men in the tribe were all mean good hunters annoyed by Naru. All the fur traders were disgusting, violent savages. I guess that one fur dude that could communicate with Naru had a bit more depth to him, but like shallow depth at the best. You were in no danger of drowning in him, is all I'm saying. That's not a slight on Bennett Taylor, by the way. I enjoyed the performance. There just wasn't that much to the character. But in a movie like this, I don't think it is a huge drawback with shallow characters. I have absolutely no idea how they did it and how much is CGI or prosthetics, but Dane DeLigro must have had a blast portraying the massive monster just tossing everyone around. So, a bit of a lackluster main course, but what worked really did work well. Let's see if the dessert can seal the deal. Some lovely chilled direction with some sweet production design on top. Dan Trachtenberg directed this. You might know him from the spectacular spin-off sequel thing 10 Cloverfield Lane, or perhaps from the Black Mirror or The Boys episodes he's directed. He's a really gifted filmmaker and very capable. I enjoyed how he laid out the story and showcased how both Naru and the Predator was learning and growing as the story unfolded, and I enjoyed the various parallels and differences highlighted between the tribesmen, the fur traders, and the Predator. That could have been dealt with very heavy-handedly, but no, Dan managed to thread the needle and direct the heck out of this film. The overall production is absolutely gorgeous. The sets and costumes are great. A couple of the CGI scenes are a bit obvious to spot, but it isn't that bad. And the Predator itself is absolutely beautiful. But you know, in a horrific and disturbing kind of way, of course. I'm familiar with the typical Yautja getup, and it was super fun seeing an earlier version of their tech too. It was fun world building, and as mentioned earlier, it really made me want to see more of these creatures attacking throughout human history, to see how their gear and society evolved as well. That was a pretty strong finish. Hey, looks like we're getting a nightcap too. A chill tall glass of spoilers on the rocks. So yeah, now I'll do a bit of spoiler stuff. I think I've been vague enough so far, but now you should probably skip to this part if you don't want to be spoiled. I really loved how we see the Predator study the food chain and annihilating whatever it concluded was at the top. I was also amazingly slow to deduce what had happened to the bisons, to the buffaloes, the big cow beasts, even though I'm somewhat familiar with the real life history. So I really enjoyed how the filmmakers mocked and embarrassed the fur traders for the unnecessary brutality and carelessness. Also, throughout the entire film, I felt like the Predator cheated because it was just invisible, which I really felt diminished the Predator's hunting skills. I mean, I would probably be a pretty good hunter too if you couldn't see me coming. But when Naru turned the table around on it, turning invisible to its infrared eye, with the orange flower lowering her body temp and the big bonfire cloaking her, I thought she was so cool and clever. And I guess that makes the Predator 2 then. It's been a pretty dang good date. Dinner so far. I have to collect my thoughts though before I can truly decide if this franchise deserves another shot. So my concluding thoughts is that it was a blast of a film, and I had so much fun with it. The violence is gory and bloody, the Predator's tech and weaponry was impressive and fun, and Naru was a great protagonist with a wonderful inner and outer struggle. Her drive to overcome the prejudices against her is relatable and admirable, and watching her do whatever it takes is inspiring AF. Also, it does include some really great homages and nods to the original and the sequel, done very elegantly and with a level of subtlety I like, mirroring of a couple of lines and the inclusion of a somewhat irrelevant prop. Nice little touches that just keeps elevating this movie. Is it the best movie ever? No, and it probably won't change your life or anything. And I've probably sung its praises too loud now, so you won't get what all the fuss is about, but you should definitely give this movie a chance. I'm definitely going to. I'm ready to be heard again. I'm already looking forward to seeing it again, and next time I'll check out the Comanche version. Also, how freaking cool is it that they made a Comanche version? Good on ya, everyone involved in that decision. Thanks for watching this. Anyways, and as always, if you liked the drawing, consider liking the video, and if you liked the video, consider subscribing. Until next time, take care.